Okay, so picture this. You're in the middle of a race, you're surrounded by over 100 other elite athletes, and then, poof, you're gone. And no, this isn't some movie plot. This is the absolutely wild, true story of Mauro Prosperi, a man who literally disappeared in the Sahara Desert. His survival story is going to make you question everything you thought you knew about human endurance. So let's get into it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the big question, right? How does a top athlete just vanish with 134 other people supposedly right there with him? To even begin to wrap our heads around that, we need to understand the stage for this whole unbelievable drama. So let's talk about the race. It's called the Marathon des Sables, and our guy, Mauro Prosperi, he's a 38-year-old Italian police officer, a total pro, an expert pentathlete. You'd think he'd be ready for anything, but you'd be wrong. So wrong. And see that term right there? Self-sufficient? That is everything. This isn't your local 10K where you get orange slices and water every few miles. No, this is you against one of the most brutal places on Earth, almost completely alone.
First off, just look at that distance, 251 kilometers. To give you some perspective, that's like running almost 6 full marathons, back to back to back, all across burning hot sand and rock.
And you've only got 7 days to pull it off. Can you imagine? The pressure is just immense. That clock is always ticking away, pushing you to your absolute limit. And you're doing all this in temperatures that can hit 46 degrees Celsius. That's around 115 Fahrenheit. I mean, that's not just hot. That's a kind of heat that literally saps the life right out of you. And this is where that self-sufficient thing really kicks in. Your food, your cooking gear, your clothes, your survival kit, it is all on your back. The only thing the organizers give you is water, and only at specific checkpoints. And this is the key. If you get lost between those points, you are completely, terrifyingly on your own.
So for the first 3 days, things are going pretty much to plan for Prosperity. But then comes day 4, April 14th, 1994. And this is the day that race stops being a race and becomes a pure fight to survive. So let's break down what happened. It's the longest, most brutal stage of the whole race. The heat is just punishing. Prosperity is feeling good, so he pulls ahead of his friend. And then, bam, a sandstorm. Not just any sandstorm, a monster that rages for 8 hours. Just a wall of sand you can't see, you can't breathe. And when it's all over, silence. Everything's gone. The trail, the markers, everyone. He's completely lost.
So now he's lost, and everything he knew about being an athlete, all that training, it's about to become totally irrelevant. Now, it's all about raw, primal survival instincts. His water? Gone, almost immediately. So with no other options, he had to do something pretty unthinkable just to keep his body from shutting down. And then, out of nowhere, a glimmer of hope. He hears it. A helicopter. This is it. He's saved. He fumbles for his signal flare and fires it off. But nothing. In the insane glare of the desert sun, the pilot just doesn't see it. He just watches as his one shot at rescue flies away. I can't even imagine the soul-crushing despair of that moment. So he just keeps stumbling on, and he finds this abandoned shrine. It's shelter, but that's it. No food, no water. And this is where things get really intense. He captures bats that are living inside, and, well, he drank their blood. His meals are now raw lizards, snakes, whatever he can find. Okay, so by now it's day 7. He's been living this nightmare for days, and he's just done. He's hit rock bottom, alone in that shrine. He's convinced this is the end. He figures all hope is gone. He doesn't want to suffer anymore, just slowly dying of thirst and starvation. So with a little piece of charcoal, he writes a farewell note to his wife and kids. And then he takes out his knife, cuts his wrists, and just lies down to die. But it doesn't work. And the reason why is just mind-blowing. He was so incredibly dehydrated that his blood had become thick, almost like a paste. It couldn't flow. It just clotted right away. His own body, in its desperate state, literally refused to let him die. Imagine waking up the next morning after that. It must have felt completely surreal. But for him, it was a sign, a really powerful one. He thought, death itself rejected me. I'm meant to live. And in that moment, something changed. He decided he was going to fight, really fight.
So with this whole new outlook, he leaves the shrine and starts walking again. Only this time, he's not just wandering aimlessly. No, he has a plan. He's not a victim anymore. He's a survivor.
He started using his head. He figured out the desert's rhythm. He'd walk only when it was cooler, at dawn and dusk. During that peak, blistering heat, he'd hunker down and save his energy. And at night, to stay warm against the cold, he'd literally bury himself in the sand.
And the toll on his body was just staggering. In those 9 days, he lost 15 kilos. That's nearly 35 pounds. I mean, his body was literally eating itself to stay alive. He was just a shadow of the athlete who started that race.
Then, day 8, he finds a little oasis. The water's gross and muddy, but who cares? It's water. He spends a whole day just slowly rehydrating. The next day, day 9, he sees something incredible. Fresh goat droppings, a sign of life. He follows the trail and then he sees her, a little girl herding goats. He had made it back to civilization.
Now, this poor kid sees this skeletal figure coming out of the desert, and understandably, she runs away terrified. But thank goodness she came back with her family. They helped him, gave him food and water, and eventually got him to a military camp. And it's only then that everyone starts to piece together just how insane his journey had been. Get this, he was 291 kilometers off course. He had walked so far, he'd actually crossed the border from Morocco into Algeria. And back in Italy, his family thought he was dead. They'd already held his funeral. So you'd think after an experience like that, he would never want to see a grain of sand ever again, right? Well, you'd be wrong. In what might be the most unbelievable part of this whole story, Mauro Prosperi went back and ran that same race 6 more times. He said the desert that tried to kill him also taught him the meaning of life. And it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What kind of lesson do you learn out there at the very edge of existence that makes you want to go right back?